Hi from Chickenwood Studio. Today is November 6th, I think. Kind of a gray November-y day in upstate New York. A lot of the leaves are down, but a lot of the oaks are still hanging in there with their pretty oranges and golds and browns. And I'm here to do my first podcast. I've enjoyed a lot of knitting podcasts the past few months and toyed with the idea of just recording one and sharing with everybody because it just looks like so much fun. It's like the knitting group of our day, and it's so cool because you can join with members across the whole world and be a Ravelry and all the connections that we have today that make it so easy. So I'm just going to jump right in and say, first of all, Chickenwood Studio is where I live. We call it Chickenwood because my husband and I took wood off of an old chicken barn many years ago and used it to build our house for our siding and for even our trim work here behind me and doors. And I see in this picture that we never did paint the gray hinges black. We've been here, oh no, have we been here 30 years? Yeah, 30 years this fall? No, 28. Anyway, I guess I should put it on the to-do list. Let's see, we live out in the country and we do have chickens. We used to have sheep and a dog, and we're down to chickens and 2 cats lately. That's our latest count. 11 chickens, 2 cats. And today's a special day because, hang on one second, we bought a new batch of chickens in June, and today is egg day. First eggs of the new batch. Whoa. That's pretty cool. Aren't they gorgeous? They're little, not too tiny. They're pretty good size. I'd say small, not even medium or large. We have 11 Rhode Island Reds, and I'm so happy they've started producing after 5 months of just growing, hanging out, decorating our place. Let's see. So back to crafting and making and all that stuff that we talk about on our blogs. Chickenwood Studio, yeah. That's why the house is called Chickenwood. Our family kind of dubbed it that because a lot of it came from this chicken barn, and it's kind of cute. It's kind of stuck. And studio means that it's the place where I do a lot of my making of things, from knitting and spinning and some weaving, some dyeing, and soap making lately. And my latest fun thing has been getting back to the sewing machine. And I'll show you what I've been doing lately there too, and I'm sure you can guess because a lot of people are having fun with rediscovering what they can make with their sewing, from wardrobes to bags to whatever. So that's been exciting. I haven't done a lot of sewing in a long time. Let's see. I was going to try not to say much. I will still try. My name is Lori. I'm married to Buzz. That's his nickname because he's a busy, busy bee. Today he's out collecting firewood, and he might come up behind me in the cellarway there, or who knows what's going to happen. But we have 3 grown children, and 2 of them are living outside the home, and 1 is here with us still, our daughter. Our boys are in China and Boston, and our daughter is here. And it's been fun. It's fun sharing life with her as an adult under the same roof. Actually, she's house sitting this week somewhere else, but she's in and out doing interesting things. So I have some knitting here and some, well, I'll just tell you as I go. I will start with whips. Whip crack away. I first heard about whip crack away. I think listening to Louise's Knit British podcast was really when I started looking around and hearing references to different podcasts and video podcasts as well as audio. And I was listening to Knit British because I was preparing to go to Shetland last year, 2014, to Shetland Wool Week with a good knitting, spinning friend. So that was a great discovery, and we met Louise and a lot of other wonderful, fun knitters over there, and actually are planning to go again in 2016, next year. Less than a year now. So I know that time is going to fly, and I'm so looking forward to returning. It was a wonderful experience there. How did I get on that? I don't know. Anyway, we'll start with whips on the needle. That was how. On the needles. This is a hand-spun yarn on a pattern by Susan B. Anderson. Her Yowza Way-It shawl, one of the 4 versions of the Yowza Way-It shawl, and it is. I had 5 ounces of yarn, and the pattern is for 8. So I've been losing at Yarn Chicken so many times because the last section of the shawl is this applied garter stitch, and the applied garter stitch goes across the needle, and you can't really judge how much yarn it will take. And yet I wanted to use all the yarn because that's all I have, and I made a Ricky hat in the rest of it. I had 8 ounces of fluff from PEI Mini Mills in Prince Edward Island of a beautiful blend called the Queen's Garden. This color does not come true on the camera. There's a lot more deep red. I don't know why, but it's much more muted and foresty on the screen. But I'll put it up on my Ravelry page eventually, and the colors, maybe they'll be true there through the photographs. It's a smushy, mushy, lovely blend of wool and alpaca, and I don't have the label with me now, but if you look up PEI Mini Mills, they may have some bats available in a similar thing, or you could look into it. It was a delight to spin. Really lovely spinning. So that'll soon be a FO, finished object, and then I can wear it with the Ricky hat, and I'll be all matchy-matchy with the garter stitch, and it's real soft against the skin, so I'll enjoy wearing it. Next up in knitting projects is, let's see, this one. All these things you will probably hear have been inspired by other podcasters' projects. It's definitely a monkey see, monkey do world out there. But you know what? I don't care. I think that, what did they say? Imitation is a form of flattery. So every pattern that I pick up because I saw someone else do it is because I like the pattern, I like the yarn, I like the finished product. And here I go. This is the Agatha Sock from New Hampshire Knits. She designed it. It's a really interesting stitch pattern, and and I wasn't sure how it would be on this multicolored sock yarn, which I picked up at Rhinebeck from the Schweitzer Woolen Mill. It is a wonderful blend. I have the label right here under my pile. Here it is. Schweitzer's Fiber Mill. They're in Pennsylvania. And this is Polworth in nylon. 100 grams fingering weight, about 420 yards. This is delightful to knit. It's just smushy and a little bit fuzzy, and just dense and soft, and I cannot wait to finish these socks. The pattern is a lot of fun too. And I hear they fit really well, and I like a snug sock, so I think these will be fun for me. And I'm knitting them on, I think, I don't know if these are the Hayas or Knitter's Pride ones that I picked up at a shop last week when I was out away from home. But the metal DPNs are my latest favorite. I just really liked how warm they are, but they're strong, they're going to bend, and I'm just not a fan of the wooden DPNs or bamboo. So these are a little slippery, but look what I tried to make. I tried to make a DPN holder, a sock project holder. We shall see. Not that great. It's an old button container. I think I'm going to try and do those on the machine with some snaps. I picked up some snaps last week, and that's something I want to try. It's the little folded over, snapped over the project, because I do hate losing my stitches. And this is in one of my very first project bags that I made. I watched a couple tutorials and learned about how to make them, and this is a little kind of a polka dotted lining. Fabrics from a quilt shop nearby. Again, the color's not coming through great. The background is actually mint green. and lots of fun. Just enough for a sock project. What a blast. And let's see, next is another bag that I just made recently. This is fabric from Clementine up in Rockland, Maine, Leah's shop. And here's the lining. It's kind of a pretty crosshatchy green with a fun forest critters theme. Let's see what's in here. Oh, this is a cowl project that I'm making and hopefully teaching at my local yarn shop soon. With the yarn is Malabrigo. It's a DK weight in a kind of very fall colors look. The pattern is the feathered cable cowl cabled feather cowl by Cindy Craig. That's available online through Ravelry. Ravelry gives a link to the website that has the pattern on it that you can print off. It's a lace and cable plan. It's almost like a feather and fan, except that there's your lace part and here's your simple cable. Not that simple. Kind of hard to keep track. So it's been a challenge to keep track, but I've made one. Love it. Wore it all last week up in Maine. Not that it was all that cold. It was a beautiful week. I was up there for a week. But that was with a heavier yarn. This is a little lighter, and curious to see how that's going to be. Next up is, let's see, this one. I couldn't resist. A bag from Fondant Fiber, because I've seen so many going across the podcast pages. This is the medium-sized thistle bag with a lovely, it's in a different bag. A little bag of lavender sachet. And this is a really exciting project for me. I made one so far, Glitten in thrummed knitting for my hubs, for Buzz, for when he's out snow blowing this winter. The thrums are cashmere, and the yarn is a hand-spun blend of alpaca, lamb, and maybe cashmere in the yarn too. It was a hand-spun that I picked up at Rhinebeck from Autumn Hill Farm. Autumn. Oh, I hate when I don't have the details. It's a beautiful blend of natural colors, and the cashmere is so warm and lovely inside. The cuff was a little too short, but I was worried I would run out of yarn. So I took off the first cuff, and I am going to make this cuff. I just pulled it and attached the needles and went in the other direction from the point where the ribbing began. So I have this much yarn left to add to the rib, plus I have the whole cuff from before, so I can really make this thing go right up under his sleeve, and he will really like that. And I split the yarn in half before I began, so I have another ball. There's a little bit of recycled denim in here, blue. I think that's really cool. And here's my handy Buzz hand pattern, because he had to leave and I stayed on in Maine and wanted to finish this for him. So one is almost done, and the other I think will go quicker because I've got a system now with pulling thrums out of the bag of fluff. Would you like to see the bag of fluff? Here it is. Pure cashmere. Lovely. That's from this one, maybe. This photo was inside. Must be from her or him. Him? I don't know. I don't know if the females have horns on those. I've not seen them up close and personal. But that was a super fun part of my Rhinebeck visit. Barb and I went down on a whim because we were having feelings of missing out, Louise. And it was crazy. It was so crowded. And we left kind of saying, maybe never again. I don't know. But in spite of all the crowds, we found some really nice things. We made some nice connections with some vendors, and it was quintessential Rhinebeck weather. The colors were beautiful. It was cold enough that everyone could wear their sweaters and hats and things and hand knits. So that was really inspiring and fun. What do we got in here? Oh, this is inspired by Tilly Trout, whose podcast I love to watch. She made recently some gloves, and I've never made gloves before. And if I was going to do Sarah of Fiber Track TV's Shackleton along, but I'm not. If I was, making gloves would probably be doesn't sound that huge, but I've been afraid to make them for years. But looky. I followed the pattern of the knotty gloves, and I'm using yarn, another one that I picked up at Rhinebeck. This is from another small farm vendor whose label I didn't keep with the project. It's wool and alpaca 80/20, and it's really nice. Perfect for this project, and plenty of it too. So that's been successful. I've begun the second one, and I don't feel intimidated by it, so I think second glove syndrome will not happen. I'm looking forward to doing the second one. Again, these are little teeny tiny size 0 boy needles. I have a set of zeros, 00, 000, and quadruple 0, maybe, really tiny. That's been a lot of fun. I have way too many projects to tell you about, so I'm going to stop there. Maybe bring some other ones up another time. But this is one more thing on the hook set. Again, monkey see, monkey do. That's Buzz. Monkey's coming out. I think he just went back out. Good. I feel funny doing this while he walks in, but whatever. I love the idea of the scrappy sock blankets that people are making, and I had seen one a while back before I even thought about doing one. I admired this pattern on Ravelry called Flowers in the Snow, and so rather than start with a granny square project, this starts with circles and little crochet circles. And you make a bunch of those as opposed to your squares, and they're all fun memory yarns, aren't they? And some little minis that I've picked up or been given. Ooh, that one's fun. I've been saving sock yarn. Thankfully, I never threw out the sock yarn scraps. So I've been making little rounds and putting them together with Regia cream colored yarn. Let's see, this is the front. So isn't that cute? So excited. I love it. And I have a long way to go because I have like 4 by 10. And I want to make a good size throw blanket. That's all right because it's a fun process. So that's my scrappy sock exploration. Although I also have the knitted miter squares going. I also have a granny square one for my husband with a gray background. Darker gray, more like steel gray, and that's in the squares. So those guys will keep me busy for quite a while. I thought I would move along to another subject and show you my swap gift from Nina 86 in the Disa's Craftwork. We exchanged baggies, tea. There were caramels in here, they're long gone. She sent along some adorable tools, a little notebook with graph paper inside, handy for, I think these are her cats. These are Nina's kitties. Aren't they adorable? They are really pretty. They are. And then some sticky notes. And a lovely green paper clip to go with the green. And I had, stitch markers that Nina made. cute little charms, knitting queen and a ball of yarn and some pretty beaded ones. And last but not least at all is the skein, which is made by an indie dyer in the Netherlands. Colorful Creativity by Kralalian. Or Krapathian. Colorful Creativity. Yeah, this is wool and nylon blend called Wild Woods. And I told her that I loved these colors, and I do. It's just beautiful. I can't wait to cast on a pair of socks in this stuff. Look at that. You see that? There's blues and browns and greens. And what a lovely gift. Thank you, Nina, in case you ever see this. I will tell you if I post this. And this is the bag she made for me. Isn't that adorable? It's pretty abstract in my colors. And a pretty orange lining, orange and white. So that was a real lot of fun. Speaking of project bags, I'll just go on ahead and show you what fabric I have for one yet to make. We have a little stack that's growing. It's just like other stash. Picked this up in a little quilt shop in Lee, Mass. Colors again, man, they're cool in this much more vibrant yellowy green here and a deeper tealy green background. There's that. And when I was in Maine last week, I went to see Leah at Clementine and couldn't leave without fabric for another one. So here's the baggy pattern again. I think I love greens. This is much darker green background, and that'll be the lining, maybe the bottom of the bag. And that is from Clementine, Rockland, Maine. It's ClementineME.com. One more little project bag thing. I made this one for my daughter. She already has some knitting in it, which is making Mommy proud and happy. If she enjoys it, and she does. And she's not obsessed like me, but I guess she's working on a scarf yarn that she picked up when she was in Oxford away on semester abroad. She enjoyed knitting while she was there. Looks like it came off the needles. Bummer. That looks gray, but it's really beautiful. Indigo, different variety of blues. But here's the bag, and this is the Kate Davies tutorial about making a knitting bag. I did narrow the handle some. Her handles, and I don't think I lengthened it. I just made them scoop in closer. So I thought that this fabric was a two-way fabric, so I didn't worry about whether it was up or down when I made it. And I got it finished, and I see a lot more cats upside down. I don't know. What do you think? I think I have enough fabric for another one, and I'm gonna pay more attention next time. But she likes it. It works. I'm happy with it. Take a break from yarny things maybe and tell you about a couple of books that I just picked out to read. Starting with this one. If you haven't read the Mitford series, I think there's a cat behind the door. Come out, kitty. Sure enough. Okay. Jan Karon's Mitford series about a community, an imaginary community in the Blue Ridge Mountain area, I think. Wonderful series, and I've been so excited to get this one from my library and read the next one in the series. Can't recommend it highly enough. I have hair on my nose. Sorry. This one kind of inspired to look at this one because I spent some time in Maine, and I hope maybe next summer to be able to grow some things where I'll be staying. If I can stay long enough or go back and visit often enough to water and weed and keep things alive. But this looks so interesting. I think I bought it in a book sale. An Island Garden by Celia Thaxter. Celia Thaxter grew up entirely without benefit of a schoolhouse education as the daughter of the lighthouse keeper on the tiny Isle of Shoals, 6 miles offshore in the Gulf of Maine. As she matured, her ability to capture in prose and poetry the intense love and acute awareness of nature developed in childhood placed her in the ranks of other literary greats of her century. Nathaniel Hawthorne visited Appledore Island repeatedly in Celia's youth. Later, her parlor on Appledore resounded to the conversation and ideas of such persons as etc., etc. So if you're interested, you can look it up, and the pictures are illustrated by Childa Hassam, who think I've seen her illustrations other place. Hassam's masterful renderings of the garden and island capturing the marine light with their staccato brushwork are as important to American Impressionism as Monet's poppy pictures or paintings of his garden at Gavarnie are to French Impressionism. Interesting. If I can find a pretty one in here to show you. There's a few in the center. Oh, probably won't come through that well. Yeah, it's pretty nice. Yeah. So this is good winter reading. Keep you thinking about growing things next year. Although I'm totally okay with the winter. I'm so thrilled with the temperature changes. I'm so thrilled that it's getting cooler. Third on the list, I don't know. We'll see if I can get through this. When the kids were little, we bought a video of Kidnapped. I think we read the book first. We read the book aloud by Robert Louis Stevenson. And we loved the book. And we loved the movie. And if you ever get a chance to see it, it's definitely worth a watch. With, oh boy, Armand Assante is the lead guy. Does a very good Highland Scott. And I've forgotten who Davy Balfour was played by, but he was also in the movie Rob Roy. Forget his name. So it's the music's gets old, but the filming and the scenery is fantastic. It's filmed in Scotland, and the story's great. So I think this is a sequel to it. I'm not even sure. I probably bought this at a book sale too. And let's see. Being memoirs of his adventures at home and abroad. My son's book plate is in it, so maybe he picked it up at a book sale. But I'm going to give it a try on a cool fall-winter evening by the wood stove. Here's hoping. I'd like to do more reading this winter, but there's always other things distracting me, all the fibery things. So I will just finish up with sharing some hopes to make and things I picked up yarn-wise this past fall at Rhinebeck and around. This was one I had seen on Sarah Fibertrek. Granny Sheep is one of the members of her Ravelry group, and we've had some fun conversations. Sarah made a pair of socks with some of her yarn from her Corriedale sheep. This is some of that Corriedale blended with alpaca. I'm pretty sure I remember this right. Yeah, North Star alpaca. This is really nice, and I look forward to getting some socks going on this. Some pretty cable-y air and texture maybe. Yummy. I also caved and bought the Cornish tin, which I'm pleased about. Now I only wish I'd bought more. This is the turquoise colorway. Worsted weight. Nice textury hat, I think, coming out of that. Wish I'd bought some of the gray. Oh well, at least I have a little bit to remember. And celebrate Blacker Yarn's 10th anniversary with this great blend. It's just beautiful. And let's see, this is my hand spun. This was some roving I bought from Hilltop Cloud, Hilltop Katie, about a year ago. And it's a lovely blend, merino, Shetland, mulberry silk, baby alpaca. And I bought 2 100-gram braids. And this was the colorway. It was from her Harith line. Don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. And it's the Treath or Treth. I don't know my Welsh very well. Colorway. It was really pretty as roving. You could really tell the different colors. And it kind of all got blended in together it's deceiving. It looks like it's gray, but it's really pale blues and butter yellows and whites and creams and shots of silk here and there. And I've spun it into a DK weight 2-ply, and I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it. I'm not sure the color does anything for me, but it might look nice on a redhead, my daughter perhaps. I'll have to hold it up to her. I don't know. Or maybe gift yarn, or weave a scarf with it. I just love holding it and smushing it. It's got a beautiful texture and feel. I love gray anyway, so if it's gray, it's just it's a heathery gray, and I'm sure I'll have good use for it. So that's, I think, all I brought up to share today, and I'm so psyched to have a chance to hang out. Oh, there was one more. Where is it? It's one I started this weekend. I was able to go and spend some time. The first week of November this year in Mid-Coast, Maine was absolutely gorgeous. I was very fortunate and thankful to be able to spend some time there. I was actually sitting at the edge of the water in a tank top 2 days ago, and I started a pair of socks with this opal yarn that I had from the Vincent van Gogh colorway line. This is Starry Night. But it reminds me of mussel shells from Maine, the purpley blue mussel shells with a little bit of an orange inside the shell. If I had one here, I'd pick it up and show you. So, I don't know. I was sitting by a lighthouse, so I'm either going to call these the Lighthouse Socks or Mussel Ridge. I don't know. Mussel something. Not M-U-S-C-L-E, but M-U-S-S-E-L, as in the shells that the mollusks that some of us eat. Not me, but my husband and daughter love them, and my mom. So this is one of those pretty self-patterning colorways, and size 0s. And these were all I had with me, but they're doing the job. Little, probably Susan Bates, whatever. So I think that's it. I think I'm going to stop now, and thank you for giving this a whirl, joining me. I hope it's been fun. If so, let me know. If you think I should keep trying, do another, let me know. And maybe I'll see you again. So good knitting, everybody, and spinning and weaving and soaping and making and creating whatever it is you love to create. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.